Awesome. We can start.
Sounds good.
It should also be live on your page.
All right.
Welcome. Thank you so much for being here with us today. Today we will be talking about Facebook advertising strategies, and we're privileged enough to have Paul with us to give us some hacks and strategies we can use for our businesses. Before we start, I just want to tell you real quick why we're doing this and a little bit about what Street Entrepreneurs is. So we're an accelerator for people with talent, heart, and grit, and we help people start and grow businesses that solve problems that matter to them. When COVID-19 started impacting businesses, we began getting a lot of requests on how do I digitize my business? How do I achieve digital sales? And hence we put together a digital workshop series to answer entrepreneurs' questions. Luckily, we were able to find this incredible lecturer who's here with us. So feel free to start whenever you like. Thank you.
Cool. Appreciate that intro. I'm super excited to be here because it is definitely a fascinating time to be online, to be running digital ads for companies. And I think if it was never blatantly obvious the last 10, 15 years, how important it is to be online when everyone is at home and exclusively online, I think the value is there. So let me pull up. I've got some slides here. So we're going to run through some slides. Hopefully teach and educate a ton of valuable information, show some real live examples of how any business can get started with ads and how to avoid the 4 most common mistakes that I see on ads, not just with clients that I speak with, but also when I see ads delivered to me in my Facebook and Instagram feed. So let me share here. Is that showing up fine?
Yes, that looks great.
All right. So I just mentioned the title. There's also gonna be some other cool hacks you can utilize of just some of the tools that Facebook has, not just for business owners, but for the consumer. They've had a lot of those privacy issues, and for that, a lot of the information is just very open and available, and I'll show you how you can utilize that to do market research, kind of spy on your competitors, so to speak, and other ways to target your ideal customer using ads. And it's not expensive to get going. You can run an ad for $1, $2 a day and test the waters with it. So some of these strategies you'll be able to implement immediately. Quick bio on me. I'm Paul Cassimus. Here's a photo of me drinking a margarita and having nachos before lockdown. So I taught public school for 2 years in Richmond, Virginia. That's where I've been for almost 11 years now. In 2012, I started a popsicle business called King of Pops here in Richmond. Ran that until, December of 2018 when I left to do digital marketing full time. In those 6 years, we did over $2 million in sales. The first year was about 80, maybe 90,000. And then the final year, we were doing over 600,000 in sales from popsicles. So what I do now is I work with both marketing agencies and I work with clients directly to help create ad campaigns, to create marketing funnels, and do copywriting. Persuasive writing is a very, very key element of creating a good ad. And that, whether it's an ad or an email or a general post, if people aren't reading what you're writing, it's kind of pointless. You don't want to be ignored, so to speak. So that's what I help agencies with. They outsource work to me, and then also the clients that I work with. So cool. So these are the 4 most common ad mistakes. First, people do not have proper targeting set up. I cannot tell you the number of times I've seen a CrossFit gym in California, Oregon, Texas show me an ad. If you're so arrogant that you think that I'm going to fly from here, Richmond, to your gym in Texas, I don't know, you're delusional. Same thing with restaurants. Now you might think, well, what if you're visiting? Okay, is the one chance I happen to visit Texas, am I going to remember the ad I saw 6 months ago? So do not, make sure your targeting is for your local area if you are a local business. It's part of knowing where your market is, knowing where your target market is going to be. If you're a gym, HVAC company, restaurant, anything that services your local area, make sure it's just that local area. Ads that confuse the customer. This is one of the toughest and one of the most common. And some of the examples I'll show you are ways you can try to avoid that. But you got to think of your customer as one, knowing how distracted people are in this day and age, and how you want to keep their focus on your ad to take the action that you've laid out without losing them. And the confused buyer never buys. So don't confuse. Number 3 is not utilizing all the tools at your disposal. Ads that have no headlines, no body text, no call to action. Again, there'll be examples of these later. And there's no follow-up. So let's say people do click your ad, what comes next? And you want to make sure there's a consistency between what people are seeing on Facebook, Instagram, Google, Twitter, YouTube. This applies to all the platforms. But then what happens next, loses, we call it losing scent or loses consistency. And that's part of number 2 as well, that confusion. So I'll show you examples of all those, and then I'll also show you the makings of an ad. I'll go into my own ad account, show you how to get started. Again, how any business can get started. I believe Juliana mentioned this. If you got questions, drop them in the chat in Facebook, or if you're here on Zoom, she's gonna be monitoring that. And so we'll have definitely have time for Q&A at the very end. And Juliana, if I'm going too fast, slow me down. Or if there's anything pressing that someone's asking that's relevant, this is your show, so you can interrupt me at any time. So quick assumption and disclaimer, I'm assuming that you already are running an ad on Facebook or Instagram. And I keep using that because that's the easiest platform for people to get started in. That's the most common area. That's the majority of social media, those 2 platforms. Or that you have some basic knowledge of an ad. You've interacted with one, you've created one. I think most everyone on the planet has interacted with an ad in some shape, form, or fashion. 2, none of this is going to guarantee you any type of results. All it's going to do is help stack the deck in your favor so that you're not wasting money. And when you're spending money, you are making sure that you're spending it in the best and proper way to get the result. Because in the end, none of us can control what the other person at the other end of the ad does. So there are no guarantees in this game, nor in life. Any questions you have, pop them in the chat. Already covered that. So here's a quick overview. We're going to talk about targeting. I'm going to show you the back end of the ads manager. I'm going to show you some real life examples, and then we'll wrap up with some questions and discussion. So before getting into that, I'll send I said I'll send a copy. Juliana, we'll maybe have to connect it, send people a copy of this at some point. These are all the elements of an ad that are just an extension of the 4 ways that people waste money. So this is how you can think of, am I doing it right? Is this correct? There's so many different little elements in there, and the examples I'll show you, all of it sort of ties into this. And all of this is going to be sort of a repeat in some ways of those 4 ways that I mentioned earlier. So a great ad is going to have the proper targeting, not too broad, not too narrow, just right. Think Goldilocks, not too hot, not too cold. You want to have a compelling headline, getting people's interest. You got to think of someone scrolling through their phone and a headline that stops them in their tracks, stops their scroll, and gets them to click. You want to avoid excess information or being excessive. Have one clear purpose. You want to view it from the customer's perspective. This is probably the most important because most people assume too much that, oh, the customer will get that. They'll understand that. This makes sense. Again, we don't want to confuse anybody. We want to have compelling visual. This goes back to being scroll stopping. So that visual might be a GIF, a slideshow, a video, whatever it is, to get people to stop in their tracks, so to speak. You want to avoid industry jargon. Speak the language of your customer. People often say, don't even write higher than an 8th grade level. Avoid big words, avoid stuff that only people in your industry utilize. Make it clear. You want to make sure it's clear what the next action the customer should take, what that will be. That's what I mentioned earlier of keeping that all consistent and not confusing them. You want to make sure that it's easy for customers to take the next step. So it might be clear what you want them to do, but is it clear how they do that? You want to maintain continuity, and that's continuity between what you're telling them in the ad. If you're saying, click here to download this brochure on XYZ topic, the very next thing that happens should be, if they click on it, how to download a PDF on XYZ topic. Don't hide that. Don't hide the thing that people are doing. A lot of people make that mistake. And then finally, just know your objective. This will become clear when I show the ads manager in just a second. What is the purpose of this? This is actually the starting point of your ad. So you do all these things. This is kind of a checklist. It's not, it's not all inclusive, but these are 10 of the most important things that I consider when I'm creating ads. It's how you can save money. It's how you can make sure your ads convert, to get people to take an action, to get leads, to get new customers, to get more purchases, get people to download, your white paper or your PDF or lead magnet, whatever it may be. So we're going to pause this presentation. I'm going to now go to my ad manager. Is that showing up, Juliana? I'm guessing. Cool. All right, let me close this real quick and just start over. So this is your ads manager where you start. This is my business one. If you're familiar with ads, you've definitely been here. Real quick, the way you get here is, let's say you're here on Facebook, and now I just switched over. There we are. You click this button at the top, and then you just scroll down to manage ads, and then that will take you to the ad manager. You get started by clicking this green button, create. So my tip is, if there's something in here that you do not understand, ignore it. I'm going to show you the very basics that you can use to get started, because there's a lot of elements in here because you can go very high level with it. So here are your objectives. You got awareness, consideration, and conversion. From left to right, it's going to show the action that the user is going to take, from easiest action to most difficult. These over here are getting in front of someone's eyeballs, similar to a billboard you see on the side of a road. So the user doesn't have to do anything but see it. So that's what it's going to drive awareness. For consideration, it's a little more action that they have to take. So this is where they're going to have to engage in the ad. It's going to tell Facebook, find people who are most likely to click. That's what traffic is. Or engagement is like, comment, or share a post. So if you click that objective, it's going to say, Facebook, find people who are most likely to engage with this post. App installs, if you have an app, I've never dealt with that. There's people who specialize in it. I don't. Video views would be if you want a lot of people to watch your video. Lead generation, exactly what it's saying, lead gen. Message is to get people to send your business a message on Facebook. And so each of those is its own strategy, which is well beyond the scope of this talk. And then I'll just get to this next one before going into more detail. Conversions is any conversion on a site. That could be a purchase conversion. It could be submitting a form. It could be opting into a newsletter. All those are different types of conversions. So you want to make sure you have the right objective selected for what your purpose is. Because if you're trying to go for conversions, but you've selected awareness or traffic, and it's like, well, why am I not getting sales? It's because you told the robots, Facebook is a robot. It's artificial intelligence. That's what's deciding all this. You're saying, well, hey, find me people who are going to click this ad, but not necessarily people who are going to convert. It's like if you're wishing to a genie and you say, hey, genie, I wish for $1 million. And then suddenly 1 million male deer appear right in front of you. It's going to take you very, very literally because it's a robot. So if you want sales, tell it to get you sales. If you want a lot of clicks, it's going to get you a lot of clicks. Now, of course, those clicks could turn into purchases. It could turn into conversions, but we don't know. So for the sake of this, I'll click conversions here. We'll scroll down. Let's hit continue. Again, those two things are above, ignore it. You can continue without it. So now we're in the ad set, and then this is where we're going to do the targeting. And this is, again, one of those main, top 4 mistakes that I mentioned is getting the right targeting. The default rather is going to be the United States of America if you live in the United States, and it's going to be literally everyone who's on Facebook or Instagram. So this platform is going to go both to Facebook and Instagram. That's the default, and plus a few other places that I'll show you later. So again, I've had people, I saw this before. I won't name the name, and because they had a third party, someone similar to me who, if I can brag, didn't know what they were doing, because they were doing a reach campaign to the entire United States of America, and then I'm like, well, of course you didn't get any leads from that, because you're targeting all of the U.S. And the guy's like, yeah, my zone is like a mile radius of where I'm at. Like, yeah, it's kind of an issue. So again, audiences can be a whole different thing for another time. But let's say I'm in Richmond. So I'm going to start with this. Let's say I'm a realtor. Actually, no. Let's say I own a restaurant. So I might actually just go a smaller radius. So that's step one, is making sure that this targeting is to the people that you want. I apologize. I should have had a better example here. What's a good example, Juliana, of a business? Let's say, go ahead.
I would love to do an entrepreneur's business. So how about someone who is selling candles with surprise crystals inside in Washington, D.C., sunstone candles?
Selling candles?
Yes.
That's
And not
good.
just any candles, soy candles with surprise crystals inside.
Soy candles with surprise crystals?
Yes.
Okay. So in this example, we're going to assume that they have a storefront. Otherwise, if they were selling online, they could target everywhere. But this is something you want to make sure is knowing. All right, if you're selling online, yeah, you can target the whole U.S. If you have only a shop or a local business, you want to make sure that this is specific to your region. But the cool thing is, you can select age and gender. I would say don't touch gender, because as much as you might know your thing, unless it's insanely hyper specific to one or the other. But for candles, just let it be. Like, you might assume, well, women might be more interested in candles for XYZ reason based on your business, but I'd say don't touch it. But if it's something like homeowners, if you're trying to target homeowners for deck repairs or something, yeah, maybe you change this to like 27 and above. But let's talk about candles. Let's just see. So this detailed targeting is going to find people who have expressed an interest in whatever interest you're selecting. So those are going to be something related to your business. So if you're selling soy candles, what else might they be searching for online? So let's see. 16 Candles is a movie, so probably not. Yankee Candle, I'll click that because maybe they've gone to the Yankee Candle website. They're interested in buying candles. So what this tells Facebook is, and this example is, I want to find people in DC within a 25-mile radius who are between ages 27 and 65 who also like candles. So you can see this number over here on the side, it went from 230 million down to 3.4 million. You're making it more clear who you want to find and get your ads in front of. So the mistake that a lot of people make, or the assumption is, well, like, what if I haven't clicked like on Yankee Candle's Facebook page? Facebook's gotten smart enough. It's very similar to Google, where they just know that you're searching for it. They have an online profile for every user based on what they're already searching for. And that's exactly how Google works as well, with Google keywords. So I may have never liked or commented on anything related to Yankee Candle on Facebook. But if I went to Yankee Candle's website off of Facebook or a similar type site, because it says right there, express an interest in or like pages related to Yankee Candle, it's gonna lump all that in. So if you do just one, you can then click suggestions. And this is where you have to know your target audience. Are they also interested in aromatherapy? My guess is yes. It's a soy candle with secret crystals. So they're probably also going to be interested in aromatherapy. Again, this is just off the cuff. Maybe they're also into meditation, fragrances, yoga. So you can select all these things to create a profile of your customer based on what you're selling. And it's a whole other Actually, I mean, one way to do market research, just real quick, if you're just starting out and you don't really know, is figure out who your competitors are and read their Google reviews, read their Facebook reviews. That's probably the easiest and fastest way to get market research, and the best, because you're getting it straight from the consumer. So, that's just one major hack. I'm gonna see if they have secret crystals. Nope. Or maybe we'll say crystals. So here's some of the options. Maybe it's or family crystals, metaphysical crystals in stone versus swarv. I apologize, I can't pronounce that. That's the jewelry. So you need to know, the difference between those. So this is where it's cool, because again, if you just do one of them, I'll just click on crystal healing. Then you can click on suggestions, and then it'll do things very similar. So does that all make sense?
Yes.
Cool. All right, so that's the targeting function, and I'll show a hack in just a split second of how you can do more market research with that. So the automatic placements will be checked. I'd say if you're starting, just click on that. But if you're looking at where is it all going, and you can see it automatically defaults to Facebook, Instagram, Audience Network, and Facebook Messenger. So Audience Network are going to be blogs and articles similar to how Google does their banner ads and retargeting. You ever notice you're scrolling through a blog and there's an ad? That might be a Facebook ad. So Facebook's reach is far beyond just the Facebook platform. It goes into Instagram, it goes into other kinds of articles and apps. And that's all the Audience Network, and then it goes into your Messenger function. So, I mean, some people get hyper selective on where this goes. I tend to just let Facebook do its thing, because more times than not, it's going to default to Facebook mobile. That's just where people are spending most of their time. So scroll all the way down, all this, just let it be. Set your budget. Again, you can just do $1 a day. Don't expect a whole lot of results other than impressions, which is valuable. People are going to know that you exist. That's the first step to getting people to buy. But just make sure you have this selected appropriately with whatever your marketing budget is. So let me show you that hack I mentioned. Actually, I'll use street entrepreneurs as an example. So let's say you've got a competitor, we're the Washington, D.C. Soy candle with secret crystals company. And let's say this is a competing business somewhere else, and we want to see what they're doing. So one, of course, you can just look on their page. You can look at their reviews. But this thing right here, page transparency, you can click that to see more. And so a lot of this is just, it's not terribly helpful for business, except for this part right here where it says ads from this page. So this is where you can click on it. If they are running an ad, you can see what that exact ad is. Facebook wants to be very transparent about who their advertisers are and how valid they are. They don't want people selling snake oil or selling crap that doesn't exist. So if you can see what they're running, and that's where you can get inspiration. What's that quote, like great artists steal or something, or good artists borrow, great artists steal. Like, I'm not recommending you copy anything they do word for word, but you can look at their strategies, look at how their stuff's laid out. We call that funnel hacking in the biz. That's a little piece of jargon. So get inspiration, don't copy anybody. Consult your lawyer if you're not sure the difference. So we can see Street Entrepreneurs is not running any ads. So you can do that for any single business page that exists. If they're running ads, you can see them. And for political ones, you can see how much they're actually spending too. Facebook wants to be very transparent with that. The Bloomberg campaign was spending $1 million per day. It was bananas. Because I was like, let me check and see how much, because I knew he was spending a ton. So, and I'll show an ad. So usually when you're scrolling through Facebook and Instagram, the second thing is typically going to be an ad. So the no BS inner circle, you can click right here and then click, why am I seeing this ad? So It's saying this business called No BS Inner Circle is trying to reach people on Facebook, or trying to reach people Facebook thinks are interested in Marcus Lemonis and Russell Brunson. People who speak English in the UK or US, people who are 18 and older, and people who live in the United States. So this is targeted for me. I am very interested in Russell Brunson. He is the founder of ClickFunnels. It's a marketing software for creating funnels, landing pages. I'm also interested in Marcus Lemonis. So that's why I'm seeing this ad. So this is where you can see how people are targeting their stuff. So if you see something that, again, in a similar place, you can click on it. And this is just based on my browsing history. They know that I go to ClickFunnels for client work. So Facebook is delivering me this ad because this company has told them, show this ad to people who like Russell Brunson or Marcus Lemonis, who speak English, who are 18 and older, who live in the United States. So that's one example. Let's try to find another. Workshop, Allison Ball Consulting. Why am I seeing this ad? Trying to reach people who watched the video from their page, who interacted with their Facebook page, 18 and up, et cetera, et cetera. So you can target people based on watching videos. I think I did watch something that she had because she's in food consulting, and that's kind of a background of mine. So I watched the video, and now I'm seeing another ad from her. It's kind of a more advanced strategy, but this is, again, how you can see what your competition is doing, or maybe what similar businesses are doing to get inspiration on how to create. So on that, let's go back and look at some ads. Actually, let me go back to my beginning, make sure. Okay. Yes. So we talked about targeting. Showing these examples, I'm going to show you more of these examples of these mistakes. It's all right here. So let's go back into preview mode. So this is a local ad, and here's something cool. There was a time I was scrolling through with the intent of screenshotting ads, and it was awesome because you would think that, well, there'd be much more of the national companies spending millions and millions of dollars a month, or an insane amount of money per month, but that's not the case. Facebook's primary objective is to keep people on the platform. To do that, they want to keep things relevant. So it's actually like a 50-50 split, maybe even more leaning towards local businesses that I was seeing. So that's very good news for local businesses because the playing field is even. Facebook doesn't care if you're spending $1,000 a day or $10 a day. If what you have to say is engaging to your potential customer, and the customer would find a lot of value in seeing your ad, they're going to show your ad over someone spending a lot more money. It's all about how relevant it is and how much you can help people, how much you can interact and engage with people. So, yeah, this ad is not that good. And here's why. One, this image is not compelling. It's their logo. Two, their headline just says Evolve Dental Care. Like, how many times do we see it? Here, the name of the page, here on the logo, here. So this is the headline. When you think of how people interact with any type of newsfeed, and that's how all social media is going, you scroll. I'm scrolling, and then I'm going to stop because of the image. Once I stop and look at the image, I'm going to then look at this headline here. Then I'm going to look at this top text, because that's the order that you go into, unless, I'm scrolling really slow, but that's typically how people interact. So let's read what they have to say. With the gentle and fun, Dr. Oliver office utilizes newest technology, high sterilization protocols, and comforts, such as a therapy dog mounted ceiling mounted TVs. You know what would have been a far better image to use? A picture of the therapy dog. Like, I want to see this dog. I want to, I don't even care about the mounted TVs. So put that dog in there. People want to stop scrolling and be like, oh my gosh, how cool is that? So it's just not utilizing what they've got. Two, this is a little bit on copywriting, because that's just what I do. It's talking about newest technology, high sterilization protocols, which that second part actually is very relevant in this day and age. I actually screenshotted this probably like 3 months ago before the pandemic. But what people actually care about, and I work with a ton of dentists, and I've read an insane amount of dental reviews. None of them talk about caring about the technology. All of them talk about Were they comfortable? Were they treated kindly? I was afraid of the dentist, and then I went and saw this dentist, and now I'm not afraid anymore. They made me feel welcomed. So those are the types of things you can put into your ad. So they didn't make use of all the elements that they had because they have a headline that they just used to tell the name again. I would say, put the headline, "We have a therapy dog in our dental office." Like, you don't have to be terribly formal. The idea is to get people to read this, to then keep reading, to then do the next thing. So their call to action is right here. It's call now. You click that button, it's going to immediately start dialing. Whether you're on a computer, it's designed for mobile. So that's what the next step is. So in that regard, there is that continuity. It says call now. You tap that button on your phone, you're going to be connected to their phone line. Let's look at this ad. Exterior lighting, another happy customer in Leesburg, beautiful home. So I guess first, what isn't good is, again, this portion down here where it just says electrician in gray. That's where the headline should go. They chose to have zero headline. Facebook will, again, it's a robot. It will just let you do what you tell it, because it might think, I don't know, well, exterior lighting has a strategy for not putting a headline in, but there's no reason not to make use of that site, or make use of that space. So they're not using all the tools they have. And so if we're thinking back to the objectives, there's no call to action here, which is fine. So this would be great for an engagement objective, just to get people to interact with it, like, comment, share, or the awareness objective, just to get people to see it. So if exterior lighting is running this and like, well, why is no one sending us a message? Why is our phone's not ringing? Well, one, you don't have a call to action, and you probably didn't set your objective up properly. So a lot of times there's that misalignment of what you want to do and what you told Facebook to do, and then what you actually put in your ad. And this is great, again, just to show the people in Leesburg, maybe, here's some cool lighting we did. Here's another ad. This has excess information. That was one of the things I mentioned to avoid. It's kind of confusing. I don't know what this is. And I don't think, it says LED technology. To me, that wasn't very clear that was even a light. So a little bit of that confusion portion, at least for me as a user. They do have a headline, RGF's Halo LED whole home air purification. I'm imagining using UV light with LED, I don't know. So here's another example of confusing the customer. They had to say, call us to get your Halo for as low as $1,200 installed, blah, blah, blah. But then their call to action says send message. So you might think, well, they're going to read that and just call. But again, if I see two different things you're telling me to do, inherently I get confused. Well, which is it? The confused buyer never buys. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just say, I'll get to it later. It's too much mental effort for me to figure this out. So again, they're running a special. They're talking about buy, call this number, special financing, etc. There's just a lot of information here that I think is confusing, not to mention the two calls to action. And they might not even realize that they had the send message button right here. And then, so what happens when you click send message is this is what pops up. So again, it's like, well, what am I supposed to do? What service do you offer? You tell me. You just told me you have this whole home air purification system and special financing, but none of that is there. So that's part of that continuity issue. People click here looking to get that financing that they already mentioned, looking to get that monthly payment maybe, and there's nothing there. It forces the user to take more action. Again, we don't want them to expend any extra brain power. What would pop up here is click here to talk to someone about how you can get financing right this second, or something like that. Again, that's a whole other thing. I help businesses create all this. Here's one that's better. So they're getting a little bit like progressively better, but I think the next two are better examples. So DMV agency, Firefly agency, your local agent, blah, blah, blah. Again, here's one missed opportunity. Their headline, similar to Evolve Dental Care, is just the name of it. I'll get back to that in a second. So you click shop now, and then this right here on the side is what pops up. It says, we'll shop your home and auto insurance for you. One agent, blah, 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 give it a try. So it's very clear what they want you to do. It's very clear what action you should take next. But if I were doing this, I would put this right here in the headline: we'll shop your home and auto insurance for you. Like why bury that in the next section? Make use of the space you've got. Why repeat your business name twice? Again, the headline is going to get people to take action. It's very, very important. You want to tell people what's going on, what the value is. Because if I'm looking at this, I'm like, cool, insurance, it's boring. But if it's, these guys can shop it for me and give me the best rate, now I'm intrigued. Now I'm interested in what these folks have to do. Oh, the marketing agency. This is a great ad, and I'll show you why. These people's style is the complete opposite of me. I'll get to that. First, this is great copy. Buy your competitors a box of tissues, and then it talks. This writing is very different than normal writing. Normal writing is forgetful, it's generic, it's boring. But this is good writing. Their headline: we get you new customers. It's not clever, it's not witty, but it's very effective. If I'm a business trying to get new customers and I see that, that's going to hook my attention in. So don't think that, well, I'm not very clever or witty like Geico or whatever. It doesn't matter. Being witty and clever is not a prerequisite to writing a good ad, even if you know nothing about writing. The image it's a little boring. I mean, I think you can get these stock images where like this woman's shirt has their logo. That looks like a stock photo to me, but it might be working for them. What's working really well right now on Facebook are square images, the 1-to-1 ratio. But again, I screenshotted this a few months ago. So if you're making an image, I would say go with a square 1-to-1 ratio rather than like a more horizontal one. But just as an aside, this is what got me, where it says, oh, did some goofy marketing expert tell you marketing is fun? It isn't. I'm like, listen, I'm a goofy marketing expert. I think marketing is very fun, extremely fun. That's why I do it for a living. I'm not going to tell you it's fun because you might think accounting is fun. I think it's terribly boring. So that's just my thing on it. And also that they call themselves a marketing agency. I just think that's lame and cliched. It's like, hey, I had this great agency. Oh, what's the name of them? The marketing agency. Yeah, but what's the name of it? The marketing agency. Get it? Ha ha ha. Like, that's not my style. I think that's weak, which is shocking for how good the copy is. So I don't know, the marketing agency. If you're making money, that's great. Again, if you're accomplishing your objective, you can ignore anything I have to say, but these are just the best ways. So if we're looking at what happens when I click learn more, this is what pops up. Beautiful landing page. Love these guys for this. Do you want more customers? Yes. You can see how easy this is to get people to just shake their head. We get you more customers. Oh, I want to learn more. Yeah. Click here. Do you want more customers? Yeah. Show me how. So don't confuse complexity and major graphics for converting. Their goal is to get leads in. I would say this is very effective. Again, despite my thoughts on them calling me a goofy marketing expert, this is a very effective landing page. A landing page, by definition, has no exterior links. This is focused on one objective. You're not confusing your customer, going back to one of those 4 things. So this is what comes next. This is the follow-up after the ad. They do it extremely well. I want more customers. I clicked on it. This is what it's telling me. I click here. Now I'm a lead. It's very simple. So fantastic landing page. And overall experience by this company. This I thought was fascinating. LinkedIn, a social media networking site, which I didn't mention earlier when I listed all of them, but they operate the same way as Facebook and all that. Scroll through. They're advertising on Facebook. Why? Because Facebook's the largest social media network in the world. So people hang out in different ways. People go on LinkedIn for professional reasons. People go on Facebook for both professional and personal. So what they're trying to sell here is to get a demo of LinkedIn Sales Navigator, which is a paid feature of this. Very simple headline, but effective. Watch a demo now. It's straight and to the point. Click learn more. Oops. This is what it takes you to. LinkedIn Sales Navigator, you know the art of selling, etc. And then here's where in my opinion, it falls off. Now, whether I'm right or wrong doesn't matter. The data is going to tell us. If the person running this is like, Paul, we're getting leads in for $1 each, I'd say, sweet, don't change a thing despite what I think about it. But if they're not getting their target lead cost, I would say, here's where to start. So my opinion can change at the drop of a hat based on data. All I care about is the results. All I care about is the data that I'm seeing. Without knowing this data, here's my analysis of it. Is that they're saying, watch a demo now. Cool, I get to watch a demo now. Again, I'm thinking of this from the perspective of a customer. And then it says, wait, please complete all fields to watch our video demo now. A sales specialist will reach out shortly to schedule a live demo. Wait, I got to fill out this form to watch the demo. And then I don't want a sales specialist reaching out to me. I might get a little confused or just kind of weary. You might think of customers like timid puppies. I don't know if I want this anymore. I'm going to click away from it. Then I'm gone. Because it's saying, watch a demo now. Now it's saying request a demo. And even though it spells it out for me, all I have to do is fill this out and I can watch it now. And then I can request a live demo. That is a little bit confusing. It is just confusing enough to frighten me, the timid little puppy dog, off from requesting that. The other thing is, one, I'm not a designer. But again, I'm looking at this from the concept of a user. I can't read this very well. It says we, and then I think it says can help you. Yeah, the designer might have been like, well, this looks great. Well, it's like, well, I can't read that. So who cares what the designer or the copywriter or whoever thinks is good? If the customer can't interact with it, it's no good. So is it easy to read? The famous David Ogilvy, who is, kind of the Mad Men is kind of based off him. It's copywriting and design is very simple. Is it easy to read? Yes, cool. If you're making it slightly more difficult to read, change it up. So that's my analysis on them. This one I'll do really quickly. This is the best ad because this is a digital marketer, similar to, I guess, like the marketing agency. If this doesn't make sense, he is using jargon, but he's talking to other marketers. So you can use jargon that your customer is speaking. I speak his jargon. I'm a digital marketer. He's a digital marketer selling to other marketing folks. So he's got a little, this is a video that I screenshotted. He's got that little banner, how we use AI training to hyperscale ads. Again, a digital marketer like myself, I know exactly what that means. And so he knows his target market. I click on it and then it's, oh, here's a free training. Here's a video explaining the free training. Here's what it's telling me I'm going to get in it. It's very clear and to the point. So that's what you would expect from a professional marketer like this gentleman, Alex Becker. It's very clear what's happening. It's clear to me what, I'm interested in these things. I want AI training. That sounds awesome. And I don't want to kill winning ads or blow thousands on loser ads. He's speaking my language here. And on another video, I could talk all about the psychology of what he's writing in terms of copywriting and being persuasive. But it's very clear. I click learn more. I would say this is me learning more. Here's a headline, free training, and telling me more. So very, very consistent, very attention grabbing. It follows all those elements that I mentioned about. He's targeting properly because I'm seeing the ad. I am 100% his target market, and he's speaking to me in that way. So he's got all those elements locked down, and that's why he's selling these solutions to help for folks like me to learn better. All right. Well, I did that faster. I like the timing. Another version I did took me like an hour and 20 minutes, but yeah, I just got on a roll there. So before we get to questions, Brainwave Consulting, again, that's the name of my business. Look me up. I post a lot of videos on there. It's primarily video based because it's one of the best ways to make content, and I just love it. Make a note to get your Facebook Pixel and Business Manager set up if you haven't already. I forgot to do that one piece. Let me show you this real quick. The Facebook Pixel. What's the website? Amazon.com. It's a site that everyone knows. Well, there's this free Chrome extension. They probably have it hidden that will tell you if it's there. So basically, you know how you go to an ad? If I were to start looking at shoes and then I would go to other places and I see those same shoes and ads, Facebook, you can do that. It's actually extremely simple. So you want this pixel in place to be able to show people who have shown up to your site other ads. It's very powerful. We call that retargeting. So yeah, I can help you set that up. It's super easy to do on a Zoom call. So I have the link. Julianne, do you have that or want to drop that somewhere?
Actually, I'm going to share it with the participants that signed up afterwards.
Oh, nice.
So I'll do that. And I'll also share with them the presentation and your contact information.
Perfect.
So I just got emails from people who signed up. They were unable to sign into the Zoom. Zoom was telling them there was another meeting in progress. I'm like, well, yes, the meeting they're coming to.
Uh-huh.
Yay, Zoom. But thank you so much for being here. I do have a ton of questions that we've received. So
Let's
the
get it.
first one is, Facebook has a new marketplace. How will this impact Facebook advertising?
That's an awesome question, and that was being blown up in all the groups I'm in. It's curious because it seems like it's kind of a way to keep people on the platform rather than like Shopify is the major thing. Actually, I think they're partnering with Shopify. So what happens for a lot of e-commerce stores? You run an ad, they click on it, you go to their site, and then you purchase. Well, this seems to be a way to keep people within the app or within the browser. It should be a better way to share data. Of course, what was already happening, they were sharing data back and forth. That's what the Pixel does. But yeah, I think it's more of like people who might be maybe selling on Amazon. I don't know. It's still kind of to be determined, but I think hopefully making it easier for people to advertise. I mean, that's their whole goal. That's where they get most of their money from. But yeah, very, very interesting and kind of exciting time for anyone who's in that online e-commerce space of how that'll work. I think it's still a little early to say.
Right. Can I collect data and information from the people I advertise to without having them fill out a form using Facebook?
Yes, you can. So when you run an ad or post, so if I like organic posting is just what you post anytime on your business. Hey, we're open. Hey, check out these cool candles we made. Anytime someone interacts with it, even if they do not have clicked liked, like, hey, I have 1,000 page likes. That's fine. But Facebook is collecting data anytime someone clicks on an ad, clicks like, comment, or share, or even like, let's say they go into your page, take a look around, and then click somewhere else without, again, clicking like. Well, Facebook knows that you visited there. They're collecting that data constantly. So yes, that information is being collected. Now, the difference is you don't know that. Facebook's going to keep that private. But in a way, it doesn't matter because it's like, well, let's say in a given month, 2,000 people interact with your ads or posts or page. Then you can have an ad specifically for those 2,000 people. And that's powerful because part of advertising is knowing how aware are they that you exist. Going back to the candles. If you're trying to sell me a soy candle with secret crystals, I'm like, I don't know what that is at all. Your message to me is going to be very different than I have interacted with your post. I know that that's even a thing, and I know just even a tiny bit about your business. So you're going to sell to me in a very different way than someone who has never heard of you. So that's how you can segment your audiences and have very specific, unique, powerful messaging that resonates with people based on how much they already know about you. So yeah, all that data is being collected with how people are interacting. Anytime you click like anything, and even on a website, on Facebook, I can do this as well. If you come to my magic candle shop, I can target people who have been on the site for at least a minute long. So again, they're off of Facebook, but because I have that Facebook pixel installed, it's collecting all kinds of data, and that's where some like crazy strategies can come into play.
Can I collect emails?
Yeah. So the lead generation objective, it's one of those, like when you click an ad and then a form immediately pops up.
Right.
And so that's a very easy way to collect emails. The strategy is, well, what are you offering people in exchange for their email? Think of someone's email like a currency. And so that's where, well, I don't know if we had an example of that in the ads, but let's say you have like, hey, free guide to creating video content, which is something that I'm creating right now. I put a lot of work into it. It's 8 pages, but I'm going to offer it for free. All you got to do is just give me your email and I'll trade it to you. It's a trade. I'll trade you this awesome document in exchange for your email. And so you can do that on Facebook with the lead generation objective. Or if they click learn more, you can take them to a page that just says, cool, I'm excited to share this with you. Just drop your email and then I'll email you the guy that you're looking for, or I'll send you the coupon, or whatever it may be that you're getting in exchange. Or if it's a contest, which just definitely check Facebook's policies on contests. But it can say, hey, to enter this contest, fill out your email here, and you have a prize. So there's a lot of strategies on how you can collect emails, and that might be one of your objectives of running an ad.
Awesome. Another question is, what is the best Facebook ad you've seen?
Oh man, that's a great question. It can vary. I mean, there was the best are the ones that are like where I'm like, this person made this ad for me. So there was one. Two things about me. I like wrestling, like professional wrestling, and rap music. I'm a big fan of rap, particularly Wu-Tang Clan. So there was a shirt of Ric Flair, who's a very famous wrestler, with like the Wu Tang W. I'm like this shirt was made for me, and Facebook knew to show it to me because what I did was I looked at it and I immediately bought it. And within that same day, like 5, 6 people commented on, like, hey Paul, check this out. I'm like, yeah, I already bought it. So that's what I think. I mean, there's a lot of crazy stuff in the world, but like really, Facebook is trying to show you stuff that where you're like, this is perfect. I needed this in this moment. So the best ad is really like, what do I need in that particular time? Um, Not necessarily what's the funniest, wittiest, but really it's what's going to get me to take the action that the advertiser wanted them to take.
Um, do you ever download page data to create Facebook advertising strategy?
No, but you can look at that. Like audience insights. Like if you have a big like following on your page and you want to know a lot more about who your fan base is, then you can look at that audience, um, and learn a little more about the demographics. There are third party apps that do a lot of that. Because some of that data can be muddled. The people who interact with your page may just be people who are very interested but never buy. I think all business owners have come across folks who are like, they're helpful, they're interested, they're supportive, but they're never going to be customers. So sometimes what's maybe more important is just drilling into your customer base itself, and your customer data, and seeing what's a profile of these, what's the buyer persona, or also called a buyer avatar, of my existing customers, and using that data to drive your future campaigns.
Okay, we just have a couple more.
Sure.
So I sell coffee. Should I focus on Facebook or Instagram, and what are the benefits of each?
Ooh, awesome question. I love this. So I'll start with the benefits of each. Instagram is awesome for something visual. You can sell with, people buy with their eyes, so to speak. So if you're just sharing all kinds of awesome, like lattes with cool design, or like just your coffee beans, it's visual and people are like, man, I want that. So Instagram is going to get you a lot of engagement. If you were running an ad, Facebook's going to just determine where are people hanging out. Think of Facebook and Instagram as like a physical location. So are they hanging out at the mall or are they hanging out at the park? And which one are they most likely to take an action to buy? Now, if your objective is just to show people things, I'd probably say Instagram again, because that works really well for businesses, for food businesses in particular. But what was the other part of that question? I think there's still some stuff I wanted to address.
So what are the advantages of each? Um, so you mentioned if it's graphic, then Instagram's probably a better way to go. Um, are people more likely to take an action over Facebook or Instagram? I think that's what this person is trying to get at.
Yeah.
Trying to
If
sales.
in the realm of getting more sales, then this is the answer for a lot of stuff in marketing is split test it. Just test it out and see because there's so many factors that you just don't know. Because people may engage with your post, you might get a ton of likes and comments anytime you post something on Instagram, but you find, well, I'm advertising only on Instagram and no one's buying. Well, maybe they click, double tap to like it on Instagram, but then later on they're on Facebook. Ooh, click to buy. Maybe it's just easier to buy through Facebook. So try it out, see where you get the most purchases, and test out. Instagram is going to be maybe a wider range of ages. I think that's going to be early mid 20s upwards into the 40s, where Facebook's going to be probably late 20s into like people in their 60s. So there is a bit of overlap, but it also between the two you're going to have a huge amount. So that I'd say the advantage of Instagram is showing a lot of those visuals. You can interact with other businesses a little bit easier, which is easy to do or fun. Hashtags work a little bit better on Instagram. Facebook's not terribly a place for hashtags, but I'd say if I were consulting you, I'd say start with Instagram. Whatever you're posting on Instagram, push that to Facebook. You can do that automatically. And then if you're doing a paid campaign, try them both.
Awesome. Okay, I'm going to collapse this question into two. Videos or photos, and how long do I have to capture the attention of my customers?
Um, it can depend for videos and photos. As far as attention, there's many stages. You have like maybe a split second or a second to capture their interest to get them to stop scrolling. And then you want to make sure that the next thing that they engage with is hyper and interesting, intriguing. You're something to build curiosity. That's where copywriting comes in. If you were thinking of writing, let's say, 5 sentences as a post as an ad, spend far more time on that first sentence than the last. Because if you don't get their attention in that first sentence, they're not going to read the rest of it. So take some time to make sure that that sentence is intriguing. The easiest tip for that is to start in the middle of the story. So there's a Mark Twain quote that I quote constantly. He says, "Sorry for the length of this letter. If I had more time, I would have written a shorter one." It is far easier to write longer stuff than shorter. If you write long, then you can pull out the elements, go into the middle of it and pull out a sentence and then move it to the top. And in publishing, they call that burying the lead. You want the lead to be at the top, the most intriguing, the most relevant. So at each stage is getting people to say yes. If they stop scrolling, yes, I'm interested. If they read the headline and they say yes, they're going to look at the rest of the ad. Maybe that's just looking at the image. Maybe that's reading. If it's a video, they might say yes. Okay, I'll watch this for 5 seconds. If in that first 5 seconds you haven't said anything that's relevant to them, they're like, this isn't for me. So again, timid puppies are losing interest. Also, just hyper distracted people. But people want to know what's in it for me. And so, yeah, you've got time, but also don't make things short just for the sake of being short. Because the myth is, well, people don't have time to read. People only watch video. People will read what they find interesting. I'm running ads of videos of myself. One of them is an hour-long conversation I had with another marketer. And I'm looking at the data, and people are watching the entire thing. Now, not everyone, of course. It's an hour long. But that doesn't look like the people watching are terribly distracted. So if what you have to say is interesting, people will keep engaging and they'll keep engaging. So they'll get interested because you've made them interested. If that answers it, right?
Definitely. So thank you so much for being here with us today, for sharing your time, your talents, your skill, and sharing it with other entrepreneurs and small businesses. We have a lot more workshops coming, so feel free to sign up, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.
All right. Appreciate
Bye.
it. Thanks.